What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Christina from the Gray State Truth, and I'm here today because was looking at some things online and came across this. Now, I know many people have seen The Rise. Um, if you pay attention to the end of it, there's something very odd at the end, and kind of makes you wonder because David is the one who put this together and this is how he wanted this released. So, for those people out there saying that, you know, you guys have said this from the beginning, everybody has said this from the beginning that David is the one who put this out, right? Like, he's the one who left the instructions for the rise to be put out. He says this on the notebook: open the gray state, the rise, right? So, let's take a listen to this very last ending part of The Rise. I think you'll find it pretty interesting.
Just a man in a blue costume with a gun, and the guy in the courtroom isn't a judge who has some.
Actually, I think I did not share. Hold on. I don't think I shared the audio. There we go. Let's try this one more time.
Superior moral claim to your life. He's just a guy in a black robe. And you're able to see the matrix. You're able to wake up and see all of the code behind the language of society and the way that we think,
Pay
and to be
attention.
able to free your mind from that prison of fear and being able to step back and never be caught up in the fears of statism, to be afraid of losing your life, to never be afraid of dying.
Okay, so let me ask you. He puts this picture of Camille up. Okay, this video clip of Camille, and talks about seeing beyond, and we know that he was talking about this, um, you know, looking beyond or searching his mind beyond what his body could handle. And at the end of the rise, you see this clip of Kamel, and he says, of course, this other guy is narrating this, but you have to remember who put this together. Now listen again. See if I can pull it back a few seconds.
That we are as human beings. America, you still consist of nothing but free,
Did I go back too
beautiful,
far?
independent human beings, capable of being the alphas, waves of energy that matter is composed of, and of arranging the molecules in your brain to engage in the rest of the world, to be a part of the universe, to enjoy the experience that it is to be a spinning wave of energy, a spiral of light that we are as human beings. America.
So they're talking about this, this part here at the end. And, God, where is it? Okay, right here.
We think, and to be able to free your mind.
So I found this very odd because this is at the very end of the rise, and it literally goes into what David was saying. And so, for the people who have been dealing with this case for 7 years, and this question is directly towards the Injustice Group, because I know you read a lot into this stuff, especially you, William Morrell. You read a lot into things. And with David's last note being, you know, open the rise. And we know, again, like I said, that he is the one who left the instructions to have this project put together the way it was. Like, let's watch one more time and listen to what is being said, because talks about expanding your mind and everything that David and Camille was talking about, these paranormal things that were happening, and they need to go somewhere that's not of this earth. Like, these are things that were specifically said by David and Camille. So let's listen again and pay attention to the clips of Camille at this very tail end of this.
From that prison of fear and being able to step back and never be caught up in the fears of statism, to be afraid of losing your life, to never be afraid of dying because you come to accept its inevitability. That's Zen libertarianism.
At the end of the day, we all die.
I mean, that's pretty telling. Of all the clips that could have been used in that specific part of this movie, or part of this
And never be caught
trailer,
up
he uses one of Camille.
in the fears of statism, to be afraid of losing your life, to never be afraid of dying because you come to accept.
I mean, is anybody paying attention out there? Just curious to know, like, how do you not see that? David is the one who put the rise together, left the note saying, open the rise. This is David's last piece of work. And in the end, he decides to put a clip of Camille, even though it's not his narrative. It's not him narrating this. He puts it where it's being narrated by someone else. So it says, ask yourself whether the dream of heaven and greatness should be waiting for us in our graves, or whether it should be ours here and now and on this earth. Sorry, guys. It just, like, and there's so many clips throughout this thing. I haven't watched it all the way through. But when I came across this clip, it was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory if you ask me. I mean, you can't deny that.
And you're able to see the matrix. You're able to wake up and see all of the code behind the language of society and the way that we think, and to be able to free your mind from that prison of fear and being able to step back and never be caught up in the fears of statism, to be afraid of losing your life, to never be afraid of dying because you come to accept its inevitability. That's
Wow. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And I'm going to go through this now that I've seen this clip, because I was like, sitting here, I was literally thinking this morning, woke up, and I was like, I want to, like, watch it, like, at least the end of it. Sorry. I want to watch at least the end of it to see if there's any hidden messages. You know what I mean? Like, stuff that maybe the cops had missed over because they didn't, if they did watch this. Something maybe that they had missed, because we know, of course, if you're dealing with a case for years instead of, years plural, instead of looking at the actual details of the case, which is what police do, they have to do it professionally, and they did. The evidence clearly shows who did this. But if you look a little bit more into the details of the case, you can see little bits and pieces kind of come together. And that's why I was like, it was an odd feeling. I got up this morning and I was like, okay, like, I want to at least watch the end of it to see if there's any kind of, like, hidden message or detail or anything like that inside of this video that could explain what happened. And not by no means am I saying this is explaining what happened. But if you if you think about David's basically last words were open the rise, submit to Allah, and Allahu Akbar, and then I've loved you all with all my heart. Those are his parting words, okay? Even if he didn't say them to somebody, he wrote them down. And so those are his last words, basically. And so, what can you do by opening those last words and opening the rise and watching it and seeing kind of like, I guess, from David's perspective of what he was trying to say here at the end. And I find it very telling. If, like, this is what he wanted people to see, but the question is, what is he trying to interpret? And if you're watching the end of this film, and this is why I'm trying to, I guess, get in the mind of William Rail of digging into these small things and why it would matter. Um, because most of the stuff that he's dragging out, it just makes no sense at all. Talking about mold and entomology and all of that, like, that's part of the medical examiner's part of it. But how is that going to change the outcome of the case? How is it going to um, change who did this? Like, what does mold growth have to do with who did this? Of course it's going to say, oh, here's a timeline, but you can't even specify that timeline because of the the conditions in the home, or how cold it was, or how warm it was, or the amount of animal scavenging. What did they eat before they died? You know, did they go to the bathroom before they died? What did they drink? Did they drink a lot of water? Did they not drink a lot of water? Did they fast before? Things like that you don't know the answers to. Um, so you can't really speculate on, oh, this mold growth, blah, 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 because it's irrelevant. They have their time of death due to the circumstances surrounding the last piece of mail that was brought in the house, the conditions of the bodies, you know, the last time they were seen, like, all of those things come into play as well. And if that's going to give them the answer, then why do they need to go on this wild goose chase like the Injustice Group has, and down these million rabbit holes that make no sense? Hey, mister, you need to watch your mouth. Autistic children, gotta love them. Going down these rabbit holes all the time. They're like, it's irrelevant stuff that they're pulling up, mold and phone records and all this stuff. Like, it has nothing to do with, and it's not going to change the outcome of the case. And so it's pointless, basically, to open these rabbit holes. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. And that's what makes you a conspiracy group, is because you're opening those rabbit holes. You know what I mean? You're allowing those rabbit holes to form, and then the people that watch you open those rabbit holes even more, because then they put their own spin on it. And we've seen this time and time again with the Injustice Group, how, Dan started out with this, and then it moved on to Greg, and he put his own spin on it, and then Catherine put her own spin on it, and Sophia put her own spin on it. Now you have Jamie and William Ryle and Eric Spitfire. You have all these little people that are digging this rabbit hole deeper with stuff that it's irrelevant. It doesn't even make any sense. It's not going to change the outcome of the case. You have, Greg over here saying there's evidence to prove his innocence. Where the hell is it? Where is it? That's my question. You can't. saying there's evidence to prove his innocence, but you're not showing the evidence. You're giving your opinion. But with the forensic evidence, you're not even showing the actual evidence that's proving his innocence. So, like, by all means, prove me wrong. That's why I've asked you guys several times, somebody come on with me. Show me the actual evidence, the forensic evidence that proves this man innocent. Like, grown up conversation, adult conversation. Come on and tell me where the evidence, the the evidence of this case, the forensic evidence proves him innocent. I want to see it, because right now all you're showing is your opinion and stuff that is irrelevant and that makes absolutely no sense to the case whatsoever. It doesn't. You're bringing phone records in. Well, you know what? People talk to people. People, you know, disappear. Like, I'm the same way. I withdraw from people. If I'm sick or if I'm going through a lot, or a lot of things are going on in my life, I will, like, separate myself from everyone, and there's a lot of people that do that. And so, you know, to dig into people's phone records without knowing what they were going through at that time, or you know somebody called this time and somebody called this time, or saying that, well, they said that they called at this time but it doesn't show up on their phone records. Well, if David has his phone off and his dad sends a message to him or tries to call him at that time, but David's phone is off, it's not going to go through. And it's not going to be on the phone record because the call didn't actually go through the line. And so if he called to leave a message, or if he called to talk to him, or if he sent a text message and David's phone is completely off, it's not even going to show up on the phone bill. It's not going to show up. I know, because I've had an ex that I had to deal with, and see why. Like, I called all these times, but you didn't answer, and my phone was off. Yeah, I had proof that I had called, but there was no proof on his phone bill that I had called because the phone was off. So it's things like that. You know what I mean? Like, little things like that, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Digging into small things like that. But this this kind of brings something into perspective. This video clip here, because these are David's parting words. You know what I mean? These are his last words. Open their eyes. Those are his last words. You know what I mean? Hey, Louise. These are his last words. And, like, this little clip here. See, this is why I don't like doing lives, because I have an autistic son in the background who has a bad cussing problem. Oh, Lord. All right. So, Braylon, please watch your mouth, boo boo. All right. So, I'm going to play it again because I did. I found it super interesting. I haven't even watched this whole thing yet, and I plan on it. But like I said, I got up this morning. I had this weird feeling that said, watch it, or at least the end of it, And so I was like, okay, let me make breakfast. I'm gonna sit down, and I have these feelings all the time. Like, I'll get these weird, I don't know, like premonitions of do this, and it won't shut up until I actually do it. And so this was one of the things that was in my head, that was just like, do it, do it, do it, and wouldn't shut up. Hold on just a second. What? I don't have any more. Braylon used the last one. I'm recording this now. if it's not bleeding, you don't need a band-aid. Well, what did you do to it? Well, you have to be careful then. A band-aid's not going to fix that. They'll put something cold on it. I'll give you some Tylenol in a second. But again, it's just one of those things that um, I don't know. It happens to me all the time. Like if I don't do it, it'll bug me until, and I've been, and I don't want to get into like psychic stuff or any of that, but I've been told by other psychics that I have that mediumship ability to, and I don't use it. Like I've heard this for years, and I get these little premonitions all the time that tell me, okay, this, and do this, and you got to do this, and it doesn't shut up until I do it. And so, um, this is just one of them. And I mean, I don't find it weird. I don't dig into it. I don't use it as a form of, oh, I'm this big medium or tarot card reader or anything like that. I think that's, I mean, I like tarot readings and things like that, but um, I don't get into it unless it's something like directly affecting me or something that I'm dealing with in my life. I don't use it. I don't go out and do readings, and I just never found it. I always felt weird about it, like just weird feelings. And so, but anyways, this was just one of them that I got up this morning and it said, "Hey, watch this." Like, and it's very weird that I turned it on and I skipped all the way to this exact minute in the clip. I didn't go through and like watch the last 30 minutes of it. I literally went to that clip and Camille's face pops up. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? It's just it's kind of weird the way it happened. Like just it wouldn't leave me alone and then boom, you know.
At the atomic level, there is no such thing as matter as much as there is waves of energy that matter is composed of, and of arranging the molecules in your brain to engage in the rest of the world, to be a part of the universe, to enjoy the experience that it is, to be a spinning wave of energy, a spiral of light that we are as human beings. America, you still consist. The way that we think, and to be able to free your mind from that prison of fear and being able to step back and never be caught up in the fears of statism, to be afraid of losing your life, to never be afraid of dying because you come to accept its inevitability. That's Zen liberty.
So, what do you guys think about that? I mean, is it me digging into this too much? Is it coincidental that something told me to open the rise and watch the end of it and then like literally went to that clip as soon as I clicked the minute button and I was just sitting there watching it and I was like, oh wow, like that's odd. So what do you guys think about that? Just curious to know because again, these are David's parting words, open the rise. And for that to be at the end where he's talking about Zen libertarianism and opening your mind and expanding your mind and not being afraid to die because you know it's inevitable, things like that. Like those were things that David was actively talking about up to the end, especially in his journal, like his own words. So these, in my opinion, would be things that you would need to read into. You know what I mean? Not phone records, not mold growth and entomology, but David's actual last parting words. Open the rise. open the rise. And that is what I did. You know, what can I take from this last clip? It's this last little 30 seconds is pretty telling to me. I mean, as somebody who's, I'm not completely fluent with the case, but when it comes to the paranormal parts or the journal and things that he was talking about there at the end, it brings light to why he said open the rise. They must have had a discussion about opening the rise. Yeah, exactly. They have recordings of themselves talking about this, um, these experiences and going beyond what their body can tolerate and um, going somewhere not of this earth. And it's pretty telling. These are why is the Injustice Group not looking into the rise more? If those are David's parting words, why is he not? Why are they not looking into this video more to see? Hey, did David put something in there that stands out to us? You know, like I said, I got up this morning. It wouldn't shut up until I did it, and so I'm glad I listened to my inner being, I guess, and went and opened it up. And I mean, I'm still getting the feeling that I'm missing something, so I am gonna go and try to watch the entire thing today to see what it is that I'm missing because I still have that feeling that I'm not seeing something entirely. But to have that feeling and open it up to that exact minute is pretty telling. I mean, out of all the clips that David could have used while this guy is narrating that specific um, topic, he uses his wife's, you know. So, anyways, put your comments down below. Let's have a discussion about this. I want to know from all sides, you know, what do you think about this? This is David's parting words. This is stuff that he was actively talking about. And this is to the Injustice Group, if you're going to dig into things so small as mold growth, entomology, and phone records, but not look into this, which is his parting words, more, then I'm questioning what your motive is, honestly. And like I said, I want to have a complete adult conversation about where this evidence of innocence is. Like, I'm waiting for it. So, anyways, anybody that wants to come on, I will be available later on this afternoon. Again, I just wanted to hop on here and point this out because it kind of shocked me this morning. But anyways, take care, everybody. Make sure you always do your own research. And make sure you follow the Crowley Case Fact versus Fiction on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Deep State Granny on YouTube. And I will be back later on. But please start the conversation down in the comments below. What do you think about this clip? Have you watched the thing? Have you watched The Rise all the way through? Are there any points that you see in there that stand out to you? And, like, what do you think about this clip in general being the ending shot of The Rise that he said to open? Anyways, guys, have a good day.